So I am here chatting with Chris Morel from ProDrive IT. My name is Jen Clay. I'm from Oakleaf. We are a mental health charity based in Guildford, supporting people throughout Surrey who are managing mental ill health. And I'm chatting to Chris today because at ProDrive IT, they have implemented a novel 4-day working week program and are really spearheading the way when it comes to how to practically improve employee mental health and well-being, which not only has a positive impact on staff at a company, but also is good for business. Chris, thanks so much for speaking with me about this. So to kick us off, can you share just a little bit about what ProDrive IT does, kind of your organizational setup and how many staff you have?
Yeah, no problem. So ProDrive IT is an MSP, which doesn't mean anything to anybody outside of the IT industry. Essentially, we are an outsourced IT support department for our clients. We are based in Woking and we have 16 staff. We work in a hybrid environment at the minute, and we have a couple of staff that live in Sri Lanka, so are 100% remote.
Okay. And why a 4-day working week? And also, how could that work in what some might call a particularly challenging economic environment at the moment, especially?
Yes, well, I guess there's lots of reasons of why we would want to get to a 4-day working week. There's been lots of studies into it. I know that there was a pretty exhaustive study in Iceland where I think 2,000 or so companies got involved. And I believe they are now doing a similar study in the UK. And all of the results from these studies have all been really positive around the mental health benefits of doing it, increasing a positive work-life balance, which I think goes a long way towards the mental health, and productivity increasing as well. Which is obviously something that business owners need to consider when making this decision. I've been fortunate enough to work around the world quite a lot doing IT, and I've worked in countries where they work longer hours, but I never noticed that they were more productive. In fact, it was the opposite. So in my head, there was never a link between how many hours you spent in the office and how many hours you were productive. And a lot of people, I think, struggle with that concept. But I came across that quite early in my career when I was working in a country that worked 6 days a week, but didn't do 6 days worth of work, I didn't think.
And it's so valuable to have these metrics. You know, we thankfully now have more and more evidence to the kind of the ROI on investing in mental health in the workplace. And similarly, I know that through this project, you've developed numerous, measures to track the impact of the changes that you've made on all sorts of outputs on the individual and organizational level. But first, to kind of set the stage on kind of how this works. Can you describe kind of when this started, kind of what the different stages of the process were, and where you are now in terms of kind of the details on how it operates?
Absolutely. So we first introduced it in May of this year. That's 2022, and it started off as a half a day off a fortnight, so a 9.5-day working fortnight. We chose Friday afternoons as the day to do it. I mean, anecdotally, everyone kind of knows that nothing much happens on a Friday afternoon. But we actually, I ran the figures, and we received substantially less calls and less new tickets on a Friday afternoon. So it was 4% of all calls and tickets happened on a Friday afternoon. The busiest time was a Tuesday morning, strangely, not a Monday morning, and that was 14%. So there was an obvious difference. So it was very easy to start with the Friday afternoon. We ran that trial for about 3 months, and in every way that we had decided to measure it, it was positive. So that was employee engagement, productivity, or what we call utilization, which is the amount of hours logged by engineers, and customer satisfaction. So all of those went up during that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not just that there isn't a detrimental impact to business by having the 4-day week or kind of 9.5 out of 10 to start, but actually there's a tangible positive impact.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. And that phase 1 was 3 months. Is that right? And so now you're in phase 2?
That's right. Yep. So we sort of finished it after 3 months, reviewed it, decided on the next step. And that happened, I think, 2 weeks ago was the first time we'd done that. And we are now at a 9-day working fortnight. That provided a few more challenges. So we are, as I said, we are an outsourced IT support company. We have to be available during our contracted hours to pick up the phone. One thing that would have indicated to me that this had not been a success was if I heard from any of our clients that I can never get hold of you guys on a Friday. That would not have been good. So we had to make sure that the arrangement was structured so that we still had staff to service our clients when they needed us. So what we did in the first instance was we just split all the technical teams into two. One team A, if you like, had one Friday afternoon off, and then team B had the next Friday afternoon off. When we then went to a full day, or to the 9-day, we had to then split those teams in half again, and it then became a Friday and a Monday one week and a Friday and a Monday the next week. And then when it's your turn again, it rotates. So if you had the Monday off, you get the Friday off next time. And we had to weight it slightly so that there was more people in the office on a Monday than there is on a Friday, because Mondays tend to be busier than Fridays do. So we had to do that. So there was a little bit of working out how that was going to work. But it was obvious to us from the results that we had to move forward to the next step, because the final goal, which we hope to get to, is a full 4-day working week.
Brilliant. And for that, similarly, you didn't share cover during those, the kind of Monday to Friday hours by splitting which day is kind of people's kind of extra non-working day. So some companies I know have, condensed working policies where you can work 10 days, number of hours, in 9 days. But is that what you've done here, or have you changed the number of actual contractual full-time hours?
Yeah, we've reduced the amount of contractual hours. So we used to work a 40-hour week. It's now on average 36-hour week, because you get 8 hours off every fortnight. We did look at extending the working day or reducing lunch hours or whatever. But at this stage, while we are confident we can make it work by reducing the amount of contracted hours, we wanted to go down that route, because I think that's important on the work-life balance and the mental health side. We did cut a lot of meetings that proved not to be necessary, and we did try and make, we were conscious to make other meetings more efficient and shorten some of them. So there was a bit of juggling when we first announced it.
But perhaps all, improving efficiency actually.
Yeah.
Through the work. And then so that's for full-time staff. And then of course part-time staff might not work Fridays.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so this initiative is only for full-time staff, is that right?
No, it's the flexible day is only for full-time staff, but for the part-time staff, they either get additional holiday hours or additional salary prorated. So we want, one of our core values is fairness. So we needed to make sure that whatever we did was fair across the business.
No, brilliant. And what would you say? I mean, it sounds as though this has been such a success, across the board, which is brilliant. What would you see has been one of the biggest kind of changes that you've noticed, whether it's on individual well-being or business output? What kind of has been one of the biggest things that's changed positively because of this?
I think I'm not quite sure the right word. I think it's the morale, the mental health of the people in the business. It's noticeable that people feel a bit less under pressure, a bit less overwhelmed, and have a bit more time to spend with their family or doing what they want to do outside of work. For me, the highlights are actually speaking to people that I know have got the time off or have had it, and say, what did you do that day? So when it was the afternoons, I used to say, what are you doing this afternoon? And it would be things like, I'm gonna go and pick my daughter up from school and take her to the local park, or we're leaving for our holiday earlier so that we can get cheaper flights, or miss the traffic, or things like that. So that's what gives me the biggest sense of sort of, I guess, pride and happiness, is to hear that it's enabling people to do a bit more in their home life and to enjoy that.
Absolutely. And as we know, and as you know, by having more time to, focus on what you enjoy and have some mental breathing room between kind of work and the rest of your life, you can then be your best self at work and, have the highest possible chance of being, well as when you come into work and feeling more refreshed and more energized and ready to do that work, which possibly is behind some of those positive business output metrics that you mentioned.
I think so.
Really,
Yeah, I think that. Sorry, I think that's really important, and I think it does. And I think the big hope for us and what's proved to be so far is that, as you say, people are more ready to work and to work their best, and they're more motivated and enthusiastic because of that extra time to breathe.
So tell me about how either you've seen this already impact recruitment or how you expect it might at ProDrive.
Yes, that's a really interesting question, actually, because it has helped us recruit. I think it shows that we're a company that is interested in the mental health of our staff, which people value more and more nowadays. And it's definitely an attractive benefit. And so people want to come and work at somewhere where you're only doing a 9-day fortnight or might move to a 4-day week. So I think that's been a real positive for both of those reasons. There's also been some studies into the cost saving that may happen. And for, I think, the average family that has to pay for childcare in a full-time job, obviously, if you're only working 4 days a week, you're not having to pay for so much childcare. And I think the study estimated that was about £270 a month. So,
Wow.
yeah. So with all of the cost of living increase that's happening at the minute, that's a real nice reversal that some people might actually be paying less. So that as well, I think, is a big draw for people who are looking to change their job.
Absolutely. And what do you think your clients think of it? And what have you had any feedback from your clients or customers who've kind of learned of this change?
I think our clients and most of the businesses that I've spoken to about it are a bit surprised at first, because of the type of business we are, that we have to have a help desk running for those hours. I think they thought that would exclude us from being able to do one of these kind of initiatives, but it's been overwhelmingly positive. So nobody said that's a stupid idea, you shouldn't do that, and everyone's always sort of expressed an interest to find out how it's gone. So I think it's something that most businesses are curious about and open to, certainly the ones that we've spoken to. And we try very hard to get customer feedback. We phone up a lot of our clients after tickets are closed to ask them for feedback, and we noticed a direct correlation of those figures going up afterwards. So if we're doing a better service to them, they're obviously going to be happier.
Throughout this whole process, have there been any challenges that you've faced, or has anything been difficult either before or during phase 1 or 2?
Not really, actually. I mean, the leadership team was very on board with it from the beginning, so that was no problem at all. Everybody within the company was very positive about it, as you would imagine. So there was no challenges there. We were very open with our clients about what we were going to do. We sent them out, communication to explain it, why we were doing it, and the impact. And we got nothing but positive feedback from there. So all of that's been really good. There have been some challenges around the administrative side of trying to work out who gets which day off and if they had that week for the holiday. So there is an extra work around that. And we tried a few new systems before we stumbled upon the right one, which hooks into our HR system, so people get it as book it as holiday, if you like, through the same system. So there was a little bit of teething problems there, but it wasn't major.
Oh, brilliant. And I think a key part of what you just said is that senior leadership was on board since the beginning, including, of course, yourself, which is so invaluable for any mental health and well-being initiatives. From this conversation, what I gain is that it's a win-win. I think there still are some misconceptions around the impact that a 4-day working week might have on a company, especially output. And so the more examples and data, such as what you've been able to show, that we have to say that actually, no, the opposite is the case, that hopefully the sooner other employers could consider this as an option to move to, and really to improve not only the business output, but most importantly, the well-being and health of employees. So no, thank you so much. I know it's very possible that other businesses would be interested in finding out more about how you've done this and any kind of questions they might have. Should they reach out to you directly, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm extremely passionate about this, and I could talk about it for hours. So if anybody does want to discuss how they might implement it in their business or any challenges and how to overcome them, I'd be happy to discuss that.
Wonderful. And if anyone has any questions around what Oakleaf does, either our charitable mental health activities or the support we provide for businesses around workplace mental health, you can get in touch with myself, Jen Clay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris. Really wonderful speaking with you.
No, thank you. It's been really good. Thanks a lot.